Call to order, determined there's a quorum present. Commissioner Wardlaw, Commissioner Vasquez, Commissioner Nettleton, Commissioner Flores, and myself, we have a quorum. Commissioner Nettleton, if you'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please, sir.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I said the Pledge of Allegiance the last time. That's the first time that I'd said it since I was here. It's like a lot of pressure, man. Item number 4, approving.
So moved for the September 4th meeting.
Second.
There was one September 18th.
It's September the 4th, September 11th, and the 18th.
Oh, yeah, okay.
3 of them.
All the September meetings.
Yes.
Okay. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton. A motion, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Citizens' comments, Sheriff.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning.
I was asked a couple of weeks ago to be more transparent with some of the training that our office is receiving. So the judge heard one of my officers make a presentation at one of these meetings. So he asked that I make you all aware of some of the services that are available to our community and some of the people that have received some specific training. So at this time, I present one of our sergeants, Gina Garcia of the CID, and she'll make a short presentation to the court.
Good morning, Judge
Good morning.
Owens, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Again, yes, my name's Gina Garcia. I work at the Valverde County Sheriff's Office, and one of the trainings I received, and I believe Judge Owens was present during the time that I announced, it was during our interagency meeting with BCFS, and during that luncheon, of course, we all introduced each other, and we remind everybody what kind of services we have around our community at Laughlin to help each other, to help victims, to help, including maybe offenders. You never know, right? So when I make this presentation, I was happy to announce that one of my goals has been for a very long time to be a forensic interviewer. And so September of 2018, the Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Frank Martinez made that goal come true. I attended training in Alabama for a week, and in that training, it's intense training because you learn how to speak to children, young adults, young teens, up to the ages of 18 or they're still in school. And we have a lot of challenges with that because we don't know what we're dealing with when it comes to forensic interviewing. So a little background on forensic interviewing, that is a specialized technique that not everybody has certification in. With obtaining this certification, I've been able to help not only our agency in itself, I've been able to help the Darrell Police Department. I've extended help to Child Protective Services. I've extended help to Maverick County, Kinney County, and I believe I have maybe 2 cases that I've helped in Uvalde County. So there's been a lot of agencies that have come into our home and our county to receive these services. And these services are very, very traumatic. Sometimes they're very sad, and sometimes it's just because the child needs to speak to somebody. And another little background is I don't know anything about the case in itself, so whatever the child or the young adult, the young teen wants to express, they do so at that very moment. The interview is recorded, and it is 2 copies are provided to the investigator or to Child Protective Services, depending who needs these items. So that's one of our trainings that we've been offering there at the Sheriff's Office, or one of the services that has been going on.
And I messed up and we didn't put it on the agenda so we could talk about it, but it was one of these deals when we went, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. I know about it. When we went to the luncheon, I mean, we're making the best out of a bad situation. And when you look at what we're providing as a county and as a sheriff, it is unbelievable. And when I heard this, it's like this is stuff that we don't get to hear. We you know, again, it's bad, but you're doing a great job.
It is bad,
You know,
and like I said, it can be sad.
Mhm.
It takes a lot to hear what a child or a young teen needs to express,
But-
and
but-
you try to do it in the comfort.
Mhm.
And
But again, we don't get to hear this, that we're actually providing a service. We always get that we need to provide more, but this is unbelievable. Thank y'all so much.
the service is there, so if there's anything else I can do for you,
I want to
please let me know.
I want to commend you on this, and Sheriff, I want to commend you for letting her get the training to do this. When you deal with children, we need to do everything we can to make sure our children
Yes.
are safe
I agree.
and where they need to be. And this is phenomenal. I'm glad that
This
you
is a
came.
huge step within our community. I really do. There's not many of us.
I think it's great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Item 6, subdivision plan. Item 7, certificates of compliance. I like that part of it. Monthly reports, elected officials.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Middleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 9, payment of bills.
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion, Commissioner Middleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Man, I've got a question. Yeah. I had submitted a travel voucher about a month ago, and the checks hadn't gone out yet. And so I haven't got registered. I think we've resolved it since then. When do we determine when we're going to deal with that?
Deal with.
Getting the checks out after the voucher, after we've submitted the paperwork, when do we make the decision, or how do we go about that process?
You submit it and it'll go out the pay period prior to you going,
Prior to,
leaving.
so if I submitted it a month ago, it won't go out until the one before we actually do the travel?
Correct. That's probably the most prudent thing, correct? Or-
Well, in some cases, when you register for a conference,
They need the money.
take the risk of losing your spot or something, so I just always
Okay.
assume that
I'm
when
sorry.
we send in the registration for the conference, I'm talking about the registration.
Yeah, the registration's done, it should be done immediately, yes.
Yeah, well, mine went like 3 meetings before it got out, and so it's actually on this one, but it would have been submitted like a month or so ago.
Did
So I
they
would
accept, did they accept the PO or something to reserve your?
Yeah, I mean, we gotta take care of, but I was just curious what that process was.
Okay.
I mean, on that one, probably like on the registration, we probably do need to take care of it right away.
We could, but I haven't been in training where they do either accept a PO or they'll invoice me. And I've gone to a lot of TAP trainings as well, so I don't know what kind of.
I was just curious what the process was. If we submitted,
To visit on it.
I assumed that it automatically went out at the next commissioner's court meeting. I'm just asking.
Have a motion, have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 10, a request to enter an order pursuant to 34.05, parentheses I, of the Texas Property Tax Code to the successful bidder through the sealed bid process of certain property previously struck off pursuant to 34.01, parentheses C, of the Texas Property Code for delinquent and ad valorem taxes owed to Valverde County and San Felipe Del Rio Consolidated Independent School District. 29114 Valverde County, all versus Richard Verastique. A 0.12 acre tract of land, more or less, out of F. Valdez Survey, 163 Block 113, Abstract 1694, situated in Valverde County, Texas, as shown by a deed of record in volume 511, pages 72 and 73 of the deed of records of Valverde County, Texas, account number 16768, parentheses 1694-0163, .0975. That is close.
Good morning, Judge, County Commissioners. This was tabled from last Commissioners Court. Question came up if this may be part of a church. I checked, it is not part of a church. It's a property that was set for trial back in July 25th, 2016. We had no bids. It got struck off with protection authorities back July 3rd, 2018. And we have a bid right now of $3,200. The current value of the land is over $10,000. Yeah, I put some color pictures on.
Mr. Rocha, I've reviewed this paperwork. This property is in my precinct, and I think we need to go and rebid it again. I think we can get at least what's owed on it.
Okay.
There's a good little tract of land, and it's right off Seneca Road, which makes it like a good commercial strip there.
You have a motion table?
Motion taken, yes.
And bring it back.
I'll second that.
And I have this also in the binder that I provided with all the resale properties, so I can put that in the public resale. I just want to put this back up as it was tabled previously, and I'll put it in the binder and present it to the court when it's ready to.
Is somebody still living here?
Yes.
Or, to the picture, it looks like
Yes,
somebody's
there's
still
someone still
there.
living there, correct.
So they would have to be evicted if
They would have
it's
to be evicted when it's sold, correct.
that 11,000, I mean, it shows an appraised value of 11,
11,000 is the current 2019.
seems awful low to me, but I don't know. I don't know, that has nothing to do with you, but,
We have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote, item 11, there's.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. No action necessary. Item 12, Auditors Report.
so move.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor?
Right.
5-0 vote. Item 13, modification of interlocal agreement with U.S. Marshal Service regarding detention of federal inmates. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of them was a per diem rate change, the change at the beginning of the year, and the other one is the CBA rates. They had a renegotiation. All these rates flow up. It has nothing to do with us, but we are on the contract, so it's something.
It has nothing to do with us, but I'm required to sign. That's agreement that's coming before.
Motion to approve, authorize judge to sign.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores, all those in favor? 5-0 vote. Item 14, certified revenues from the sale of assets through govdeals.com and direction on appropriations. A, building maintenance, $13,689. B, fire, $7,351. C, precinct 1, $16,825. D, precinct 2, $50,088.
I'll make a motion to certify and to put the money back into the designated departments that it came out of.
Just our operating accounts.
Capital.
Yeah.
Some of these little flyers not gonna have, you want 73,
Don't they don't have capital?
well, they do, but you want it back in capital?
Yes.
Okay.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Please all go back to the,
Departments.
Department, yes.
Your motion, you voted yes? Okay. We're good.
No, well,
clarification.
No, we're good. You get your money. Item 15, Human Resources, monthly report from November 7th, 2019 through November 27th.
You make a motion, they all in compliance?
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton. I'm gonna second that one. You keep making them, only one guy second, so I'm gonna second. Seconded by the judge. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Again, that's not
You know this is on tape, right? She's gonna look at it.
Yeah. Item 16, request for variance by owner of Lot 18, Block 9, Box Canyon Estates for 10-foot front line and 3-foot side and back.
Good morning, Judge. Good
Morning.
morning, Commissioners.
Man, that's quick.
Mr. Thompson is requesting a variance on Lot 18, Block 9 in Box Canyon Estates. The proposed setback line is 10 feet and 3 feet on the side and back. Mr. Thompson is the owner of 5 adjoining lots from lots 14 to 18, and the original subdivision plat was approved by the county in 1966 prior to Amistad Land Use and Zoning Order that started in 1985, requiring 25 feet on the setbacks. And in the original buildings and an original subdivision plat, they were stating just 10 feet and 5 on the sides and back. He's presenting an affidavit to attest that the lots cannot be sold as individual. And the variance request was already taken to the Amistad Land Use and Zoning Commission, and they agree on it, and that's why we're bringing this item.
One of the things that we talked about the very first meeting was there was a pipe there that we didn't know what it was for. And then we figured out that it was some gray water, and that now needs to be either removed or put back into a septic tank. That was a concern of the community.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 17, approval of bond for Roy Newsky, newly appointed Valverde County Tax Assessor Collector.
Move.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 18, possible county sponsorship and compatible use study or use plan. We attended a meeting, Commissioner Nettleton and myself, put together, basically this is for properties around Laughlin, and I think Commissioner Nettleton even made a comment that would this be able to encompass a little bit further than just the property just right around Laughlin. What we need is somebody to take the lead on this. The last go-round, it was the city. I would ask permission from the court for the county to go to the city and ask that, tell them that the county would like to head this up with, maybe put together a committee, both chambers, the city, Maquila's landowners, plus Laughlin, but put together a committee just to go over the plans. Basically, I need permission.
I will make a motion to authorize the judge to take the lead on the compatible use land, which would be the redoing of the AQs and J-loops.
Second.
And then we'll bring back a committee at some point, I guess.
We'll bring it back to the court. We had a motion by Commissioner Nettleton. Vasquez seconded it real quick.
And I do hope that as part of this plan, we can look at possibly the encroachment issues countywide, dealing with wind farm encroachments and those types of things, so that we can look at what possible issues we need to deal with in the future.
We have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. We have Janice Brokgrant out in the audience right now. She was part of the original committee, if I'm not mistaken. And I think one of the concerns was that the city, everybody to work together, and that's something that, you know, by our vote here, we're not trying to take anything away from the city. We just would like to have it headed up. And most definitely, y'all would be a part of it, and especially if the city allows. All right? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
This 5-year, for Valverde County, the plan, can we table that and come back to
Motion to
this?
table.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote, it's tabled. Item 20, request for proposals to run battered woman shelter.
I will make a motion to go out for a request for proposals to operate and manage our better women children.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. That's be good. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Reschedule the December 25th, 2019 regular meeting to December 26th due to the holidays.
I wanted to add on the 24th. Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 22, MOU between Laughlin and Valverde County. We've had some discussion with Laughlin and the JPs. Laughlin has asked that if something happens, I don't know how to phrase this, but if something was to happen to another airman or whatever, that they take the lead on the process. I've spoke with a couple of JPs and they're okay, and now there's 2 of them in the audience. What do y'all think, Judge Cole?
Well, Major Lewis called me and he said he sent this new version of an MOU. I don't know which version you have.
The old one.
Both of them?
Mhm.
Okay, because
They're the
I
old
brought the one over for you.
Mhm.
What he was striving for at the time that he talked to me, which was on the 20th, was that he would like us to get a plan together so that we all would know what we need to do. And they're going to have an exercise, and what he's hoping is that we can participate so that if we see that there's some difficulties that we have, we can find a way to work around them.
Do y'all want to wait then and to go through the exercise and then come back?
Well, I don't know that this is the best thing for any of us, and he really didn't either. He said this was a starting point.
Okay, so you want to wait?
And I don't know if,
It's not a problem. I mean, if there still needs to be discussion had, then that's what we'll do.
yeah, that was my impression
Okay.
from Major Lewis, is that we needed to have some discussion. I don't know
Okay.
if anyone else has talked to somebody else at the base or not.
No, I was just handed them a review. Sheriff?
Is this on Laughlin proper, or just within the confines of Laughlin?
There was a couple of discussions. One of them was within Laughlin, the area, and then one of them was in case somebody was outside of the actual air base.
Yeah, this references both, inside and outside.
Okay.
So why don't we just get together with them and set up a meeting with the JPs and Major Lewis, and then we go from there.
And I'll be included.
Of course. Motion.
All right, motion to table.
Second. A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. If we can get the JPs, try to come up with a date, get a number from Judge Cole, from Major. I think we just took care, we took care of this item 23 on the other one, because I listed it twice. And no action needs to be taken on item 23. Item 24, reject the bid proposal that was submitted by Frontera Road Project.
Yes, Judge, on November 18th, we received a bid, and we're not going to accept the bid. We're going to rebid this project in January.
And visiting.
Yeah, that's a motion.
We have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Nettleton. And in visiting with TxDOT, Anna, we need to get this project sort of bid out by May.
Yes, we anticipate doing that, putting it ad for December 16th, and then hopefully have the bid open in January 9th, where our target date is.
Commissioner Flores, you okay with that?
Yes, I'm fine with that.
Have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 25, Crystal Lopez, Chairperson of Alberta County Child Welfare Board, submitting the name of Janet Espinosa to fill vacancy of Alberta County Child Welfare.
Motion to approve.
Second. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 26, approving resolution declaring Alberta County as a Texas gun safe sanctuary. I don't know what I did to you, as long as this thing is that I'm dyslexic. So if I chop some of these words up. Take a drink of water and a deep breath.
We can have you, Lisa, read it.
Or get Tom, somebody to read it, yeah. Here we go. A resolution declaring Valverde County, Texas, a gun sanctuary county. On behalf of the citizens of Valverde County, Texas, the Commissioners Court accepts as true the following. Whereas removing Texans' right to bear arms and restricting the opportunity to protect themselves and their property is in the contradiction to the U.S. Constitution. And whereas a criminal's intent to harm others is a selfish act that is destined to occur regardless of whether firearms are available or not. By disarming the law-abiding individuals, the criminal element that is intent on not adapting to the society in which they live is given the advantage. And whereas the Declaration of Independence states that the people are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. And whereas John Adams wrote in 1A dissertation on the canon and federal law, parentheses 1765, I say rights for such they, the people, have undoubtedly antecedent to all, told you I'd cut it up, earthly government, rights that cannot be repealed or restrained by human laws, rights derived from the great legislature of the universe. Natural law rights given to each of us by our Creator are the basis of our Constitution by which they are protected and secured to each of us. Natural law rights, including that of self-protection, are guaranteed by our laws, our history, and our traditions. It is a natural tendency of civil government to expand beyond the limits of its rightful constitutional authority and to assert powers which have not been given to it through the delegated consent of the governed. Is that like an unfunded mandate? Whether the uses of government are perverted, individual sovereignty is overtly endangered or threatened, and all other means of redress are ineffective. The people may, and in fact ought to, force the reestablishment of the original constitutional limits of the government. Whereas resistance against arbitrary power and oppression is the obligation of every patriot, as not to do so is destructive to the good and happiness of mankind. In fact, it is the duty of the people of Valverde County, Texas, through the actions of their lesser magistrates, namely local elected officials and sheriffs, to challenge the civil government when and where it exceeds or threatens to exceed its bounds. Whereas the Constitution of the United States is the supreme law of our nation, and whereas the Second Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to secure the security of a free state and the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And whereas the U.S. Supreme Court found in Miranda versus Arizona in 1966 that where rights secured by the Constitution are involved, there can be no rule-making or legislation which would abrogate them. And whereas the U.S. Supreme Court in District of Columbia versus Healer 2008 affirmed the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms is not connected to any way to serve in a militia. And whereas the U.S. Supreme Court in United States versus Miller 1939 stated that the firearms that are part of the ordinary military equipment with use that could contribute to the common defense are protected by the Second Amendment. Well, I got 3 more. And whereas the 14th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, Section 1 states, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, and or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. And whereas the U.S. Supreme Court versus McDonald versus City of Chicago in 2010 affirmed that a person's Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms is further secured by the due process and the privileges and immunities. Clauses of the 14th Amendment, the decision also protects rights closely related to the Second Amendment, namely the right to manufacture, transfer, purchase, and sell firearms, accessory ammunition, and whereas the Texas Constitution, Article 1, Bill of Rights provides, Section 1, freedom and sovereignty of state. Texas is a free and independent state subject only to the Constitution of the United States, and the maintenance of our free institution and the perpetuity of the Union depend upon the preservation of the right of local self-government, unimpaired to all the states. Section 23, right to keep and bear arms. Every citizen shall have the right to keep and bear arms in the lawful defense of himself or the state, but the legislature shall have the power by law to regulate the wearing of arms with a view to prevent crime. Section 24, military subordinate to civil authority. The military shall at all times be subordinate to civil authority. And whereas the Texas Penal Code, Section 46.04, unlawful possession of firearm, states, parentheses A, a person who has been convicted of a felony commits an offense in the possession, if he possesses a firearm. 1, parentheses 1, after conviction and before the 5th anniversary of the person's release from confinement following conviction of the felony, or if the person's released from supervision under community supervision, parole, or mandatory supervision, whichever date is later. Or, parentheses 2, after the period described by subdivision, parentheses 1, at any location other than the premise at which the person lives. Parentheses B, a person who has been convicted of an offense under section 22.01 punishable as a Class A misdemeanor and involving a member of the person's family or household commits an offense if the person possesses a firearm before the 5th anniversary of the later of, parentheses 1, the date of the person's release from confinement following conviction of the misdemeanor, or, parentheses 2, the date of the person's release from community supervision following the conviction of the misdemeanor. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Commissioners Court of Valverde County, Texas, the following. 1. The people of Valverde County, Texas, through their duly elected Commissioners Court and their sheriff, resolve that Valverde County, Texas hereby designated a gun sanctuary county in order to preserve for the people of, on, and in Valverde County, Texas. 2. Valverde County, Texas acknowledges the responsibility of allowing the residents the right to keep and bear arms by declaring itself to be a gun sanctuary county. Oh, I keep gun safe. 3. Valverde County, Texas acknowledges, parentheses A, the unalienable right to keep and bear arms as specified in the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, the Constitution of the State of Texas, and further held by the subsequent decision of the U.S. Supreme Court. B, the right as originally written and understood to keep and bear arms for self-defense, personal safety, protection of one's family, and in defense of one's community and county. Parentheses C, the right to manufacture, transfer, purchase, and sell firearms and ammunition designated for those purposes outlined above. Rights guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution and the Constitution of Texas. D, parentheses D. Furthermore, any regulation of the right to keep and bear arms or affiliated firearms rights that violates the 2nd, 9th, 10th, and 14th Amendments to the U.S. Constitutions, that violates Article I, Section 1, 2324 Code of the Texas Constitution, and or bypasses the Texas Penal Code Section 46.04, parentheses 1 and parentheses 2, including Section 22.01, parentheses 1 and parentheses 2, or that violates numerous related U.S. Supreme Court decisions, including those listed above, shall be regarded by the people of, on, and or Valverde County to be unconstitutional, a transgression of the supreme law of the land and its spirit of individual sovereignty. 4. Moreover, the criminal misuse of firearms is due to the fact that criminals do not obey laws, and this is not a reason to abrogate or abridge the unalienable, constitutionally guaranteed rights of the law-abiding citizens. The last protectors of the U.S. Constitution are we, the people of the United States, and our ability to fulfill that role successfully rests on our Second Amendment rights. Item 5. Valverde County, Texas will not authorize or appropriate government funds, resources, employees, agencies, contractors, buildings, detention centers, or offices for the purpose of enforcing or assisting in the enforcement of any element of such acts, laws, orders, mandates, rules, or regulations that infringe on the right of the people to keep and bear arms as described and defined in detail above. Passed on 27th of November 2019 by the Commissioners Court of Valverde County, Texas, at a duly posted and called meeting.
Judge, I put this on the agenda because as we continue to listen to the rhetoric coming out of Washington and even some coming out of Austin about infringing on our people's rights,
to bear their arms and have the right to own a gun, I think it is time that we make a stand. While this resolution has no power that we can enforce, it still makes a stand of where we stand as far as gun laws and people's rights to bear arms. We all know that criminals are not going to follow laws, and the people that are going to get infringed as we continue to look at new gun laws are going to be the law-abiding citizens. And I would hope that the people, there's been 11 counties so far in the state that's passed this, and numerous around the United States has passed this, or something similar to this. I think it's time that we stand up for our local constituents that we represent and their rights under the Constitution. So that's why I have placed this on the agenda, and I will make a motion to approve this resolution, to place it in the minutes, and to place it on our website.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw.
Discussion?
Sir?
Discussion?
We're fixing. In reading it, I don't think any of us up here would like to do anything against the Constitution of the United States, and all of us up here are gun owners. Like we discussed last week, the one that I have a problem with is just number 5. Everything else, I don't have an issue with. I also have an issue, well, I do have an issue also with throwing the sheriff on, naming the sheriff, because we haven't asked him about if he wants to be named in this. If we're going to do it as a court, then we do it as a court and not name the sheriff. And I would have an issue with number 5, the last paragraph. If y'all are going to leave it in, you know, if your motion is to accept it the way it is, just for clarification, just to accept it the way it is.
Accept it the way it is.
Okay. And your second?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sheriff, you want to say something? Are we good?
Now, this has been a topic of discussion with us for the last week or so. And, you know, there's all sides, and, you know, there's got to be something within reason. You know, after reading it and after talking to some of you, you know, what's that going to do? And I agree with you, Judge, on number 5. You talk about detention centers. You know, we have a contract. How's that going to affect our partnership with the GEO group? I don't have a problem with all of this, but when we get to that, that's, you know, I can see where that can affect us. Now, at some point in time, you know, if the law change or the statutes change, I'm going to be, you know, walk right in the middle, having to decide one way or the other. And I'll tell you that there are some citizens in our community that, you know, I believe it's a handful that I believe are dangerous to our community. You know, for the most part, the majority of our citizens are law-abiding citizens, and I don't have an issue one bit with that. But when we have people that have displayed mental health issues, you know, at some point in time, someone's going to have to take a stand against that. And but with the way that this is written, with the exception of number 5, because I wouldn't want it to affect our partnership with the Jew group.
Okay. Anybody else?
I, Judge, will say a little bit of words here. I have a lot of rifles. I think everybody here knows where I stand on the Second Amendment, but I am worried about the wrong people, just a few, ending up with, you know, some weapons that they shouldn't even be close to. So at this time, I'm not, you know, that's where I stand.
Can I say something, Judge?
Of course, sir.
Some of y'all know that I was robbed a few years ago. Got in a fight with an outlaw, finally got him under control, and had to hold him at gunpoint until the sheriff's department came and picked him up. Now, that's something I'm not going to forget, and it stays with me. And I would appreciate this being passed.
we need to make a statement to everybody. Thank you, Judge.
Anybody else? We're good? Well, I believe that we have the right to bear arms, but the way it stands, I can't vote for this. So we're gonna take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner Wardlaw, Commissioner Nettleton, anybody else in favor? All those against? Aye. Commissioner Flores? Commissioner Vasquez, myself, the judge, and Commissioner Flores vote against it. Motion fails. Item 27, creation of a legislative committee for the 2021 legislative session. Commissioner Nettleton?
Judge, I know that it's a year away, but we all know that we'll be looking at filing legislation this time next year. And there are issues that we need to be looking at and how we're going to look at what legislation that we're going to move forward with, be it whatever the court decides on that. So I think we need to start having conversations, and I don't know if we need to create a committee or this is just things that the court needs to discuss amongst itself in public meetings, but we need to start the process. You know, we need to look at legislation that will deal with the encroachment issues at Laughlin, especially in relations to wind farms and other issues that relate to the needs of this county. So I would like to see us do something in starting to have conversations. We have a year to do this, but we need to start having conversations on what we want to look at in the next legislative session. We know it's very difficult to get bills passed, so I think we need to start working on it in conjunction with the city and the chamber and the school district and everybody else. So at some point, I'd like for us to either look at a committee or maybe you can set up meetings where the court and the city get or however y'all want to do it.
Why don't we put a committee together, if the court will bring back names, and then we'll put it on the agenda in 2 weeks.
Okay.
When you bring back names and then positions, I completely agree that the city, both chambers, the school, the base, I think everybody we need to form a committee, and then they can bring that back to the court versus them just trying to figure out what we need here locally.
Okay. I'll make a motion. Yeah. We'll just I'll make a motion to bring back names for a committee.
Commissioner Nettleton made a motion, Commissioner Wardlaw seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Creating a long-range transportation thoroughfare plan.
Yeah, I always have problems with that word. I know most of us all drive around this town a lot, and the traffic in this town has just got ridiculous. That's a good song.
It is.
The traffic in this town has just got to the point of ridiculous, and I know that there may be another round of funding for the CPI projects coming up. I would like to see us apply for some of that. They do allow us to do transportation thoroughfare planning to kind of relook at how we're going to deal with traffic. We have a new proposed school that'll be going in on the north side of town. I don't want the same problems with traffic that we see out here on Highway 90 toward the base with the school out there. So I think we need to start looking at possibly finding some funding through the state or the feds to join with the city and the school district to come up with a transportation plan that will fit. I think there's some options to relieve some of the school traffic that we have and to make sure that new schools don't create the same traffic flows that we have. So I would like to see us, if the CPI funding comes back, to apply for some to look at a traffic analysis for the entire community in conjunction with the city and the school district.
Commissioner, even if there's no money out there right now, I mean, it would be a good
I think we
idea
need to
do
move
something.
forward, and maybe we can do some requests for proposals to find out what it would cost to hire a firm to come in and do it, and then visit with the city and the school district to see. I don't want us to build a new school on the north side and create the same problem that we see everywhere else when it comes to traffic flow.
Why don't we visit next week with the city and the school and with Laughlin and see if they can recommend some names, and we'll put a group together before we go out and hire a consultant. That way we have an idea of more or less what we're running.
All right.
That work?
That'll work.
All right. Give Tom more stuff to do. He ain't got nothing to do. Yeah. I'm sorry, Tom. Item 29, if we'll table this one, he's not here.
Yeah, no.
Do we have a motion to table this one?
Yeah, motion table.
Okay. Have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor?
All right.
5-0 vote. Item 30, approval of county cell phones for Constable Precinct 4. Where's,
Checking.
where's
Do they not have one?
Where'd it come from? Where's it coming from?
It would come from utilities.
Okay. I just want to make sure before we... Okay.
The rest
Have a
of
motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 31, approval for Valverde County to enter into a contract with Central Security for the monitoring service of security. That's like, never mind. Fire and panic buttons and give authorization for county judge to sign. Anna just sent a text message.
She said she was going to fix some of the language,
Yeah,
but
if we could approve it, and then there was like 3 things that needed to be fixed.
Motion to approve pending changes from the county attorney.
Second.
Were you trying to second it?
Yes.
Okay. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 32, approval by Valverde County DWI and Drug Specialty Court to join the county's cell phone plan for the purpose of cell phone service and device payable from DWI and DSC grant. This is one that was going to T-Mobile, now it's coming back to us, and he's paying for it.
that's correct.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 33, declare the following items as surplus property and proper disposition. Disposition may be, but not limited to, auction, reassigned, recycled, and/or destroyed.
Motion to approve. Are you gonna have any equipment left by the time you get through selling it all?
Well, the only changes on here are gonna be that, Commissioner, that the Caterpillar, the tractor, and the hammer, when those are sold, it'll be split 4 ways. That's the backhoe.
Oh,
Yeah, and the hammer also. So that'll be split. It'll be split
Split.
4 ways. All right, have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor?
aye.
5-0 vote. 34, capital purchases by Precinct 3 of a 2020 40-foot belly dump trailer from Brazos Trailers LLC for the price of $31,457.50.
Move.
Second.
The motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 35, authorization to upgrade internet speed for auditors and treasurer's office payable from computer maintenance line item.
For our internet.
Well, they're getting ready to move the servers to a central location, so they'll need more speed to get online.
Motion to approve.
You're gonna be faster.
Second.
That means we can get POs out fast.
Especially when it's going to conference. Commissioner Nettleton, who made a motion? Commissioner
I
Nettleton?
did.
Second?
I seconded it.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Vasquez, sorry about that. I probably need to start sitting where he's at, because my good ear's to my right, to my right side. Move everybody
He's
down.
taken.
Have Commissioner Nettleton, made a motion, Commissioner Vasquez second, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 36, approval to purchase a replacement TV monitor for bailiff's desk payable from courtroom security fund. That's where we got it from the last time it's broke. We dropped the ruler.
Move.
Second.
Have a motion,
What
Commissioner?
broke?
Huh?
What happened?
We dropped the ruler on it. I don't know who carries the ruler. Commissioner Nettleton made a motion, Commissioner Flores seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Approval of 1 new cell phone for Justice of the Peace 1, 2, and 4. Money coming out of the same spot.
Yes.
Okay, have a motion, Commissioner Wardlaw.
You're taking them out of what?
The utilities, the regular phone, where the phone bills come out?
No, I understand the phone bills, but they're buying the phones. Shouldn't that come
No,
out of
it's
their
all
budget?
inclusive.
Okay, so.
Have a motion, Commissioner Wardlaw. Second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 38, request for RFPs for leasing out land for the purpose of developing a solar farm.
Motion to go out for RFPs.
Second.
Motion Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 39, capital lease purchase by Precinct 2 of a 2020 John Deere 4010L backhoe and a 2020 John Deere wheel loader at a price of $5,579.87 on a 36-month contract to be paid out of capital outlay.
Judge, I wanted to go ahead and table the item.
Okay, motion to table, Commissioner Vasquez.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 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 aye.
5-0 vote. Item 40, capital purchase and subscription of a document scanning and filing service program from Vista at a cost of $16,875 to be paid out of, from court determined. Who's this for?
This is for the Commissioner's Court office, and I think some of the other offices are going to use it.
It's the one we'd approved and then the money went away.
Well, the money went away because we used it for something else. I want to take this actually out of records management.
And we got the thumbs up.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Middleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. You did a good job.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to be dismissed. I need to go to a funeral.
Yes, sir. Our condolences to the family. Item 41, purchase, right? Purchase. It's misspelled, it's purchase. 3 EDOC licenses to the Justice of the Peace Network server. At one time, Rand's not here, and we were wanting to visit with him on this.
I know Rand called me this morning, that he was okay with this, he had looked into it, but, I mean, if y'all wanna wait till he gets here, that's
I would rather wait, he doesn't need it.
Motion to table.
I have a motion to table, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Nettleton, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. Item 42, approval of a final draft for fairground stall use agreement and provide an effective date. Mr. Edgar?
Morning, Judge,
Good
Commissioner.
morning. How y'all doing?
Good. So this is, with all the changes that were requested and made, this is the final draft.
What do we do on fees?
The fees are gonna be, $30, since the last one we bought it was 40.
So we went down.
We went down because
Instead of up, we went down, so we're gonna lose more money. So we're
What is
going
it at
to,
present?
25.
Okay.
we're going up $5, and it's costing you how much? To maintain all that?
Well, I think Judge said last time was gonna, was it like 80,000?
We lose about 80,000 after what
We lose about $80,000 a year.
It cost us $80,000 more to run it than the 50,000 we're collecting.
Yeah. And well, the thing is that if we go up in price, people will leave, and then we'll just be in the same boat, and we still gotta maintain the property and everything.
We can bulldoze it then.
Do we want to bring this back?
I have a problem with the pricing. I think $30 is way too low. I can't even rent a storage building for $30.
Do y'all, y'all want to bring it back after y'all have asked more questions to
This
Edgar?
is what the committee recommend?
Yes, sir, it is.
I'll make a motion.
Have a motion, Commissioner Wardlaw. Second? No second. Motion fails. Bring it back. That work?
Thank you.
No, thank you. Don't leave. There's something else. Item 43, approval of final draft for fairgrounds rules and provide an effective date.
This was, last time I did ask me to bring it back with this, with the new, stall use agreement. Last time you guys looked over and said everything looked good, just to bring it back.
Motion to approve.
Nothing's changed on it.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
5-0 vote. We don't have any executive session, but it's still early. Thank you, sir. It's only 10 o'clock. Janie wants to be out here. Why don't we take a small break, and then we'll go back to item 19?
There you go.
That work?
That works.
Jamie, we're gonna be out here before 12.
She said she was gonna leave anyway.
Yeah, it was, we voted on that.
Yes or no? I know, we did.
No, but it was an extra copy that was.
Yeah. You ready, Mr. Ramos?
Yes, sir, it's on.
Call this meeting back to order. It's 10:10. Go to item 5. Item 19. Like, what's he do? 5-year plan. I put this on the agenda. I know that we've all been talking about something for our kids and maybe a judicial center, and needed direction from the court of which way y'all wanted to run. We had visited with some of the leagues, soccer, both flag and contact football and baseball. And I think one of the concerns that they had was maybe if we could start with what we've got. One of the things that they mentioned was maybe new restrooms down at the soccer fields, and then some lighting at the soccer fields. And then I think we've applied for a grant for the Alcoa field. And in visiting with Carl, if we kept track of what we spent on the restrooms, that might be part of our $90,000 match. Is that right? Of what we spent, as long as we clear the environmental first and move from there. If we were to spend some money now down there at the fields and keep track and go through the procurement process, right, it could be used against what we need to come up with as far as a match. I just don't know which way what the county wants to do. If we want to, I know that there was some plans for the fairgrounds and then shortening the track also. And the plans out there, actually look, it's like Commissioner Wardlaw, you were handed some yesterday maybe?
And yours is over in the office.
Okay. So there is, there was some plans set up for that. The school has actually said that whatever we needed, they would help. In those plans, we were going to, I think, eliminate some of the stalls down at the end and move them people over, not push. Move those people over. I don't know whether we want to get started with that plan that way in order to start making room, or whether we want to work on the restrooms first and some lighting for the soccer fields. We can do more than one thing at a time. I think we're very capable of that. But, on the track, I know that all of us haven't seen the complete plans on the fairgrounds, but on the track, there's a plan to shorten it. Do we want to start that process? One of the things that was also said, if one that our one goes through with these fields, which is not going to be tomorrow or the next year or the year after, but we have nine baseball fields that they practice, and then you have flag football there. We need to start doing something to make that up. So, I don't know which way y'all want to run.
Judge, I would like, I know there is a need for youth sports, not just for our leagues, but for our school district also. I would personally, since now we have purchased a property to protect Laughlin, I would like to see us take the horse stalls at the fairgrounds and set aside maybe 50, 100 acres out there in that 2,900 acres that we bought, so people can house their horses and still have a place to ride. There's really not a lot of use, and then we could look at possibly encompassing with the school district. I know, like the softball at the school, they have a hard time hosting tournaments here because they only have one field, and so I would like to see us take the facility that we have down on Frontera and turn it into a baseball complex, and then maybe up here build something looking at a softball complex along with something to deal with pee-wee football and those types of issues also. I do know we need to look at some property for the 4-H shooting sports, for their shotgun range. We had looked at some property, it wasn't going to work out, so maybe we could set aside some property for that. I think if we can start on the restrooms, would be a good thing to do. I don't think it's going to be that cumbersome to add on to those existing restrooms down there at the soccer fields. I do know it's a problem. I've been down there on Saturdays watching soccer, and there's a lot of children down there, and those restrooms are extremely small. But those are just some of the ideas that I,
So to get started, would y'all be okay maybe trying to get together a plan for the restrooms, bring it back to the court, and the lighting down there at the soccer fields?
I would.
Do that now? That'll be okay?
I think that's a good idea, Judge.
Okay.
I would be in favor of that.
And I'll get y'all the plans for the property that was purchased by the county. Get y'all a clean copy. We'll try to get one with all the roads and everything in there. And, I mean, we're probably talking, if we go to do the horse stalls, that's probably 100 acres, and the 4-H, that's probably another 100 acres. We had 1,300 and change acres, that were for, other than recreation set aside. So, I mean, there's still a lot of property out there. The base has asked if we could go in there and maybe make some trails for them to go, bike riding or mountain bike riding or whatever.
And that shouldn't be too hard to build those trails for them.
I just think go through there and cut a path with the shredder
Yeah.
and go on, right? I mean, and that, I mean, we could do
very easy.
now, yeah.
Judge, I've got a question concerning, that acreage that we bought over there off Laughlin. Is there still somebody there with livestock or horses or?
He was moving them out.
Oh, okay.
He was moving them out. I told him to wait till we actually closed and everything before, I mean, at any given moment, that could have blown up, and it did 2 or 3 times, but I'd asked him to wait. There was no sense in him moving his stuff until we actually got it done and got that built. What else do y'all see?
I would like to see at some point, and I know there's some liability issues we'd have to jump through, but out there may be something, we could set aside some property for like an ATV track for people to go ride their ATVs and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of, especially people at Laughlin and in the community that have ATVs and those kind of things, but they really don't have a place to ride, so. I know there's some liability issues, and we'd have to figure out those kind of issues, but,
Do we want to start working on anything with the fairgrounds as far as the field, the racetrack? I know that there was discussion in y'all's plan about cutting the racetrack down a little bit in order to open up the fields.
And county crews could do this, it would really cut the cost of the price of that.
Do y'all want to start working on that and come back with a plan then? We'll get restrooms, lighting.
maybe get some.
Everybody's got a copy of the plan, I've got your copy over there, Judge.
Maybe do some practice fields to make up for in the event we lose
The plan that they put together actually is pretty nice. There's some stuff in there that he took out, which we don't know what it is. So there, those are not in there.
But I think a lot of those we can do ourselves, like some of the baseball fields and those, and then maybe some, I know we're working on the, at some point to do a deal to be able to apply for Texas Parks and Wildlife. We were doing a parks survey, or what was it? Master plan. This could be encompasses in that and then apply for some Texas Parks and Wildlife funding to help with that. But I think we did, what, 400,000 on that Alcoa field is what we have? You know, so, you know, if we can use some of those grants to help with the lighting and the irrigation part, you know, the most expensive parts, you know, and then build some of the field ourselves would be a good thing.
We'll put together a plan. I think, I'm gonna say it, and then that's probably gonna get bad, but it's I think we could probably come up with a couple $100,000 out of this year's budget if we needed to find it, somewhere, if we needed to do the restrooms and the lighting. I think, you know, it's in there somewhere. He's shaking his head up and down, that's awesome, right? Yeah, so let's work on the restrooms, the lighting, and then the plan for the baseball field, or the fairgrounds, and cutting the track. I guess we'll get out there and start visiting with, we'll visit with the people that rent stalls and tell them it's coming before we decide to do anything. And then what I'll do is put it on the agenda for the next meeting, the cost of the restrooms, the lighting, and what we need to do with the track, and then sort of cut that up and see how we're gonna get it done.
Do we have poles?
We have, precinct 2 has light poles. Okay, yeah. And he had visited with the other day, I didn't want to put him on the spot right now, but yeah, we visited the other day with the leagues, and he said that we could use them. We might be able to use some of his auction money too. So I guess our goal would be to, our kids, take care of our kids first.
And if we can bring something back to start, I do know the 4-H is ready to start construction of that skeet shooting range. Not so much the new indoor shooting, but at least the skeet shooting part. They have raised some funds. So if we can start looking at getting that property set aside so that we can start that project as soon as possible. It'll take some time to get it cleared and built and all that.
Well, we'll get you plans, before next week, before Wednesday of next week. We'll get y'all some plans. And then if you'll visit with 4-H and check and see where they'd like to have it.
Okay.
And then bring it back to the court.
Do we
We'll
have-
set that property aside.
Are all the gates out there locked, or do we have some window look, or we don't know?
I have no idea.
Right.
I have not been out there.
Drive to the fence,
There's a big deer out there.
Judge, is there any way that maybe you can, line up, schedule a tour, take us over there? I never set foot on that property, I don't even know what it looks like.
Let me get with, Kevin. Okay. Well, we can get with Kevin this afternoon. Huh?
Chief or?
Kevin, those are, as a matter of fact, we actually talked about it this past week about leaving a truck out there. He's got the old sheriff truck that's the red one. Yeah, forget it. You didn't know it was there. We have one of your trucks. We'll get with Kevin Van Hoosier.
Okay.
And get him, and I'll tell him that y'all are fixing to call him, and then maybe he can take us out there, because he's the individual that's out there right now.
See what it looks like and what's out there, I mean, that way we can
He's the one
figure out
parking?
things, what
Yes.
to do with the property.
The other deal is, at some point, we're gonna have to come up with money for, the elevator at, 83rd, 63rd. That's coming.
How much money are we talking about?
Probably about 180.
For what?
The elevator at 83rd, 63rd.
We're gonna have to replace it.
What about possibility of handicap doors into the tax office? Like we have going into the courthouse?
Oh, your button.
Yes, sir.
I think we actually have a price. Boy's not here, but we already have a price on that. I think it was in that $8,000 range or something like that.
Well, that was the electronic one, wasn't it?
Yes.
Where somebody could just sit there and push a button?
You push a button like what Janie had got us money for there at the main courthouse.
You become very aware when you have a handicapped daughter. I have a handicapped daughter, and you never notice until you're in that position.
Okay. Janie, we're trying real hard, Janie.
Okay, sir.
Anything else? I guess we concentrate on our kids. I know that I'm gonna put something like this again on the agenda, and to figure out, probably in February, as far as finance, where we wanna be, with our finance, how much money we're all comfortable with as far as in our reserve. We do have some issues right now, and we had tabled, we tabled Odyssey. At some point, we are going to have to put everybody on the same program. When we were looking at IDOC and EDOC, even though that half of them were on EDOC, half of them were on IDOC, you'd figure it'd be half the cost, but it wasn't. Matter of fact, Odyssey seemed to be cheaper than the other ones, even since and it didn't make sense, but they were cheaper, and they were having to redo all of the county. So at some point, we have a little bit of money set aside for that, but in February, we'll start the conversation on that one as to where we want to be on that.
We just want to make sure before we invest that kind of money on a computer program like this, that people are actually going to use it correctly and functions correctly. And you can spend a lot of money to save yourself money, but if nobody does it the right way, then you still have the same issues, and we've seen that in some departments. So.
Anybody else got anything else? We'll work on the kids, we'll work on a plan. Commissioners' comments? None? County judges' comments, December 8th on Sunday, we're gonna have Santa out in front of the courthouse, in front of the county courthouse.
It's gonna be fun.
Trying to get there. December 8th, we'll have Santa. We're actually gonna have a movie, on the side of the courthouse. Also, what time? 5:30. So there'll be a movie, there'll be free hot chocolate and cookies, and I think we're bringing, I'm on this really quick. There'll be free hot chocolate and there'll be cookies. So, I mean, everybody's invited. Hopefully this will be the first annual, and we can keep this going. The other deal was also, I think Emily, was trying to put together a carnival or something at the fairgrounds, and she'd asked, I reached out last week, to this committee to see if we could sort of help them, so I think this committee is gonna try to help them to put a carnival together or something.
Hoping to, as part of the stock show, we can expand it into where we can get more community involvement, so I'm hoping that. Well, eventually, I'd like to see us do a county fair revolved around our stock show.
What about getting that plane?
They're
working on it.
They're working on it, as a matter of fact,
Who's working on it?
Emily
the committee. Emily, and then Emily asked the committee, the county committee to help. The other deal is the city, is it Esme? With the city, Esme?
Yes, sir.
Esme, I think she's reached out also, and want to know anything that the city can do to help, or maybe partner and make sure that this sort of gets off the ground. The city's already reached out to us, and I think the city's also reached out that next year, maybe we can do the tree lighting, and that was the plan this year, just didn't happen. But do the tree lighting and sort of what we're doing here at the courthouse all together, that way you sort of have a week event, a couple of weeks event, to where it's all together. I know Mayor Bruno Rosano reached out.
Good job on the tunnel coming in the front door, Judge.
That was pretty nice.
Good job.
They came up with it. It took 15 minutes to put it up. Yeah.
Tunnel close.
Very impressive, what I say.
We got anything else?
Maybe we can move the Christmas tree to the courthouse and do the tree lighting at the courthouse.
They already say we're trying to take over. And if you listen to DeRusse, we're not wanting to work with them. Just throw that out there. But in that, now that I've already opened up that can of worms, when you say about talking about trash, and that the county's not willing to work with the city, and I know I shouldn't go there, but I'm gonna do it. We had phone calls.
Judge.
We had phone calls in the last couple of days, and we got a lot of rocks thrown at us. When members of council changed last year, some of the members that changed, our trash collection went to nil. And so when we get rocks thrown at us by a couple of council members that it's us that is not trying to work, you just need to go back and look at the history of what the county has done with the city. And before last year, when we had some changes in council, we always picked up trash within the city limits. And we were always allowed by the city to pick up trash and dump at the city landfill, at no charge. So that has gone away. Again, so when you look at history and look at what we were able to accomplish, when it changed at the city, it changed at the county, and now they want to charge us. I just throw that out there. All right. Y'all done?
Mm-hmm.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.